One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, what's going on folks, my name is Gray, this is Video Holocaust, where today I had originally planned to post a review with my thoughts of the recent live action adaptation of Blade of the Immortal, a film I was very excited about, and not just because the lead actor is played by none other than Takashi Kimura, a man I was a massive fan of back in the early 2000s thanks to a live action Japanese TV show called Hero, and also as a massive fan of the original manga. You better believe I had a lot to say about this one. But what with YouTube trying to block my most recent upload worldwide, despite it falling under fair use and all of the clips I did use in it already up on YouTube for the world to see, I doubt very much I'd get away with a review of this one. So fuck it. Instead of reviewing director Takashi Miike's 100th film in a career that's been going downhill for years, why not instead look at the film series that first made his name, both at home and abroad, with a look at the Yakuza-infused and delirious Dead or Alive. With the collapse of Hong Kong cinema towards the end of the 90s, those of us with an Asian persuasion when it comes to action movies would come to get our fix of East Asian entertainment with the new wave of South Korean and Japanese action and horror releases. And it's into this mix that an up-and-coming V-cinema director would make his mark, having hit the big time with films like Shinjuku Triad Society in 1995. But rather than accept the many big-budget offers that were now coming his way, he would instead return to the low-budget, straight-to-video V-cinema scene where he first made his name. The reason for this was the freedom given to him to make the films the way he wanted, and the result was the dazzling and disorientating Dead or Alive, which blew up internationally and put Takashi Miike's name on the lips of a new generation of action movie fans. The unscripted and largely made up on the spot ending has to be seen to be believed. Now, despite being a big fan of now defunct British distributor Tartan, who were the Arrow video of their day, one thing's always puzzled me about the UK DVD release of this movie, and that's why do these two appear on the cover and in all of the promotional material, despite not even being the two stars of the movie? Takashi Miike may be content these days to simply adapt anime and video games, bringing to us live action adaptations of not just Blade of the Immortal, but also titles as diverse as the based on a manga slick, ultra-violent Ichi the Killer, to Capcom franchise Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. But despite stating many times his disdain for sequels, he would return to helm a follow-up to his 1999 hit. But in true oddball auteur Miike fashion, it would be a sequel in name only, with only the two leads returning from the first in very different roles. But at least they managed to get the right actors on the cover this time in Dead or Alive 2 Birds. Well, I suppose now is as good a time as any to introduce the two actors that this series is built around. First up is Sho Aikawa, who in the opening of the movie is having a chat with cult director Shinya Tsukamoto of Tetsuo the Iron Man and Tokyo Fist fame, and is now sporting a blonde hairstyle. The other member of Dead or Alive's triumvirate is Riki Takeuchi, who's probably remembered best outside of Japan for his performance in Battle Royale 2. And in DOA 2, our dynamic duo go from playing cops and robbers in the first movie to a pair of hitmen with a heart in the second, whacking wise guys to pay for medicine for the third world's sick children. This movie is teeming with subversive and at times surreal scenes and images, but I've long since given up on trying to decipher any hidden meaning in a Takashi Miike movie, because looking for it is like looking for a pretty girl who can cook and clean. You ain't never going to find it. Now then, here's something I've never done before on Video Holocaust, but despite being a massive fan of the first two Dead or Alive movies, as of recording this video, I've not actually seen the third. In fact, truth be told, I'm not even sure if it was ever released in this country as a standalone title. But having recently picked up the Trilogy compilation on DVD, courtesy of Arrow Video, I'm now going to watch the final installment in this lurid and loopy series for the very first time and give you my opinion on whether the series ended on a high, or whether Miike's prolific output at this time spread his genius too thin. Let's find out. Well, Takashi Miike is anything but predictable. This time the mean streets of Tokyo are substituted by far future Hong Kong, as the movie is set in the 24th century, despite looking suspiciously like present day. And while a lot of Takashi Miike movies are exercises in how much he can get past the censors and subverting his audience's expectations, this movie is an utter shambles. And while our two leads, Aikawa and Takeuchi, are as good as ever, they simply can't save the poor script and poorly implemented ideas. And despite only coming out 3 years after the first, it just feels like the old magic was gone and they were seemingly all just going through the motions. Seriously, it comes off like Miike did it quickly and cheaply for an all-expenses-paid holiday in Hong Kong. A disappointing end to a series that reinvigorated the growing stale action movie genre. Well folks, this has been my look at the Dead or Alive trilogy, and despite the sour taste left by the third, I have no hesitation whatsoever in recommending to you the first two films as a pair of truly brilliant action movies, whose director Takashi Miike pushed the limits of the censor's patience as well as the viewer's expectations with his willingness to combine the traditional Yakuza tale with his own twisted imagination. And while there would be many hits and misses in Miike's filmography, when all the elements came together it produced something very special indeed. So, my name's Gray, you've been watching Video Holocaust. I'd like to thank you very much for joining me on this look at two highlights of the era when it comes to action movies. And be sure to stay tuned for more videos coming your way very soon as I look at the best of martial arts, anime, and of course, worldwide cult cinema. So once again, my name is Gray, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon. Sayonara.